Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are being accused of creating billions of dollars of new debt in order to fake an economic recovery ahead of the general election. This is Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024.
Texas Scorecard presents the day's first news for the Lone Star State, the Texas Minute, with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.
Well, we're halfway through the week. Thanks for spending part of your Wednesday here with the Texas Minute. New polling suggests Donald Trump and Ted Cruz are leading their Democrat opponents among Texas voters. We'll get to those numbers coming up. Taxpayers in Rockwall ISD can expect some sticker shock thanks to two items at the bottom of the November 5th ballot. The school district wants voters to ratify a double-digit tax increase and take on $1 billion in new debt. With just the tax increase, the average homeowner will pay $877 more in taxes, which is a 25% increase for the coming year. Meanwhile, the debt burden would cost local property taxpayers $1.5 billion between principal and interest over the life of the proposed bond. Rockwall ISD taxpayers currently owe $1.7 billion in bond debt, principal, and interest. The 2024 federal fiscal year ended in September, and the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency has now announced that the number of southwest border encounters for the 12-month period. The agency reports 2.1 million encounters with illegal border crossers. That's the lowest it's been since 2021. That low number is believed by some experts to be the result of a deal made last December between the BidenHarris administration and Mexico to slow traffic to the border ahead of the election. Since February 2021, the federal agency says there have been 8.4 million encounters at the southwest border. Republicans have repeatedly blamed the border crisis on the Biden-Harris administration's decisions to repeal Trump-era policies, such as the Remain in Mexico policy. With the state of the economy pressing on voters' minds ahead of the general election, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are being accused of injecting billions of debt dollars to give the appearance of prosperity. Recent analysis finds the total U.S. national debt has skyrocketed by $473 billion in just the past 3 weeks. The debt total is now $35.8 trillion, which is a new high. The numbers have led many, including Fort Worth businessman Beau French, to conclude that the Biden-Harris administration is using the debt to create a veil of fake prosperity ahead of the general election. Mr. French is also the chairman of the Tarrant County GOP. He said the debt spending amounts to, quote, actual election interference. The Texas Minute will be right back.
The Luke Macias Show is your access to what happens behind closed doors in Texas politics. Listen weekly to me, your host, Luke Macias, as I break down what is actually happening in conservative politics in the Lone Star State, a state that we all love and cherish. Listen weekly wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is a product of Texas Scorecard.
According to data released by the University of Texas Politics Project, Republicans at the top of the ballot are leading their Democrat opponents. Former President Donald Trump currently holds a 5-point lead over Vice President Kamala Harris. That's 51% to 46%. The same polling finds U.S. Senator Ted Cruz has the support of 51% of voters, with Colin Allred trailing at 44%. Meanwhile, new polling from Texans for Fiscal Responsibility and CWS Research finds that 53% of Texas voters believe Kamala Harris will raise their taxes. The TFR poll also found 67% of Texas voters believe taxpayer-funded lobbying should be banned by the state legislature, and that 75% of them want legislation passed preventing China from purchasing land in the state. You can find the details of all the stories mentioned today and keep up with the latest news by visiting TexasScorecard.com. As a reminder, early voting continues through this week, over the weekend, and then ends on Friday, November 1st. Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. This edition of the Texas Minute was based on the original reporting of Aaron Anderson, Sidney Henry, Will Biagini, Ilian Medeiros, and Addie Hovland. It was produced by Nick Shepard in the 1836 studios. I look forward to seeing you out around the Lone Star State. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the first news of the day for the Lone Star State. This has been the Texas Minute with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.